Good afternoon. My name's Kurt Morrow. Hello, class. How are you? My name's Kurt Morrow, as you well know, and this is my friend Anthony. And I'm going to give him a bass lesson. He's thinking about playing the upright bass, and I'm going to give him some pointers on how to get started. Thanks. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, Anthony. So what we have here is we have a double bass, otherwise known as the string bass, the upright bass, the doghouse bass. All those names fit the double bass. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to stand and hold the bass, what to do with the right hand when you're playing pizzicato, what pizzicato even means, and the left hand and what the left hand does. So as you can see, the way I'm standing, and then I'm going to hand you the bass here in just a second, what you can see is that I have my left leg behind the bass is leaning into me, and I can pretty much take my hands away and the bass will stand. Now, of course, I've been doing it for a long time, but if you let the bass lean into you, it will be balanced that way, okay? And even if you just hold the neck, it doesn't matter, but just do like that, and I'll hand you the bass, and you can try for yourself.
All right.
Now come this way a little bit, like with your body this way would be counterclockwise. Correct. Your legs behind the bass. Very good. All right. Now maybe if we turn the bass this way a little bit, and let's see where your back leg is. Okay, now this leg can move this direction so that this part of it's resting on the inside. Perfect.
I see.
Yeah, does that feel a little more secure?
Yes.
Okay, now just for a second, just take your hands away and let it lean towards you. Yeah, somewhat secure. Exactly right. That's what we're going for. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate for you what to do with the right hand. When playing the double bass, playing with the right hand, what we want to do is we want to use as much of the meat of the first finger, index finger, as possible to get the fattest sound. So, and we lay our hand, the right arm lays down like this, or falls down like this, and then we just simply bring it up to the strings. Not to any individual string right now, but just to the strings. But you see how my hand is? And you see
Just
how
resting.
I've got the side of the finger, and I've got the thumb against the edge of the fingerboard. Okay, and even here, you know, you can balance the bass with the left hand. So from a standing position, just bring the arm over to the fingerboard and lay it on the strings. Just like that. Okay, give that a try. Good, very good. Maybe lay your arm down, let your arm fall to its side, keep it relaxed, and bring it over. Right, very good. Come around a little more this way with that part of your body. There, you see, do you not feel like you're reaching so much now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Body position is a big part of it. And you're doing very well for never having held a double bass before. Because the thing that we don't want is, I'll show you, and you're not doing it, is this. We don't want this, right, where you're reaching around the bass and you're literally standing behind it. We don't want this, where it's just too close and you're like that. We want the bass to sort of, the sound of the bass comes out of these F holes. So whatever we do, the sound's got to project that way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and then this, as relaxed as it can be, that's why when you were here, you kind of felt it right in here probably that you were reaching for the strings.
Right.
But all you do is simple correction, move your body clockwise, counterclockwise a little bit, and then just become friendly with the fingerboard, just like that. Now, try that again. And I want to check out don't forget to have this leg behind the bass. And then bring the rest of your body this way. Yeah. Now, can you let the bass fall that way towards you a little more? That's pretty good. How does that feel in the right arm?
Feels fine.
Does it feel like you're stretching very much?
Not too much.
Not too much? Okay. Excellent. So for a beginning double bass player playing pizzicato, that would be a pretty good stance. Let me see where your leg is in the back. It's okay if the bass is on the inside of that kneecap and the upper thigh or lower thigh, whatever. Your thigh right in here.
Right.
Because that will help balance the bass. Because pretty soon the right hand and the left hand, they work in concert with each other. So I'll show you. When you're playing, what we don't want to do is have to hold the bass and play it at the same time. So if I had to hold it and then, do this, I that wouldn't work.
Sure.
But once the balance is right, then I can move around the bass, and I'll show you some of this in just a second. But I can move around and play notes on the bass, but you notice the bass stays in one position. That's the ultimate goal. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to play a note, an open string, and then we'll move to a closed string. Pizzicato. Pizzicato means when you're playing with your finger, with both fingers. Pizz is this. If I had a bow, that would be arco.
Okay.
So if we play with a bow, it's called arco. If we play with just if we just play without the bow, it's called pizzicato. There's a couple of ways to pizz, but the most important way, the thing is to get the fattest sound you can get, no matter what the bass is. This is a pretty nice bass, but no matter what the bass is, the goal is to get the biggest, roundest tone you can get out of the instrument. And the way we achieve that, see, if I turn my hand like I would if I was playing electric bass, if you listen to that sound, and then listen to this sound, it's a subtle difference, but it's fatter.
That one's a little sharper. It doesn't resonate.
Yeah, it's a little. It's a thinner sound. Now there is a time and a place for that, not necessarily for that sound, but when I'm playing faster passages, when you have the hand in this vertical, right, position, perpendicular, it's vertical to the fingerboard, so it's up and down, north and south is what I'm trying to say. It can only move so fast. So by no means are we getting into playing something that's a fast tempo, but just for an example, I'm just saying that, it can only go so fast, whereas, that can go quicker. It's faster because you have two fingers moving that way versus one finger trying to move that fast. It's just not physically possible. But anyway, for our purposes and for any beginning bass player, I like to get you guys to understand how to hold the bass. I like to get you guys to understand how to pull sound out of the bass. It doesn't have to be pulled hard. It just has to be pulled with the meat of the finger, right? And then, if you can kind of see how I do that, it's almost like a brush stroke, like you're brushing the string. You're pulling it and brushing it. You're doing the same thing this way, but we want that fatter sound. So it's okay to pull the string towards the fingerboard. You're almost snapping it like that. But we to start on the G string. So what you're going to do is assume the stance like I just showed you, and you did very well. And then you're going to pull your arm around like I just showed you, and you did that very well. And once you're there, you're already on the strings to play. So we're just going to focus on this string. By the way, E, A, D, G. Those are the open strings.
Okay.
E, A, D, G. Which, by the way, are the same 4 strings if you play guitar or ever have played guitar or know somebody who plays guitar. A guitar has 6 strings, E, A, D, G, B, and then a high E.
Right.
So it's kind of easy to remember if you go to either one of them. Oh, wow, I play the bass. Oh, these strings are the same. E, A, D, G, they're tuned the same. All right? Or if you play the guitar and then you get on the bass and you're like, oh, I already know the strings on the guitar. Oh, these are the lower 4 strings of the guitar? Yeah, that's easy to remember. So anyway, what we're going to do is pull the arm forward, lay it on the fingerboard, and just pull the G string like that. Good. Okay, now let's revisit the stance, make it a little bit more relaxed. And you notice I put the weight of my body on that back leg. So I'm kind of like that. And that way I can bend at the knee if I need to and just kind of be more relaxed. Very good. Okay, so now drop your arm, your right arm.
All right.
And now pull it over to the bass. Let it lay on there. Okay, now as you saw me do, let me hear you, please. Let me hear you pull the G string. Good. Do it again. Do it like 4 times. Nice. Okay, now here, I'm going to show you this, this technique. It's the same technique. What you were doing was getting a very good sound out of the G string. When you come around with your hand and use your index finger to pull the sound, don't be afraid. Matter of fact, I would prefer it if you would let your finger fall into the previous string, the next string. And the reason that is, what you were doing was very good. You got a good sound, and you were kind of playing traditionally like they did back in the 30s and 40s. They would play like that. See how that motion is pulling the string out?
Right.
In more modern bass playing, which started to happen around the late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, bass players like Oscar Pettiford and Ray Brown, and that's a whole nother lesson in our next lesson. I'll tell you about that. But in order to keep the bass, electric or double bass, from making noise, we have to play into the previous string. We have to fall into it to keep it muted. So like if I just play like this, hear that noise?
You can hit the other ones.
You could hit it, or actually a note from the G string can vibrate the other notes, because that's an interval of a fifth, but it will make the D string resonate. If I pull out, that's a D also. Right now we're not learning notes on the fingerboard, I'm just demonstrating. D, since it's the same pitch but higher, if I did that, it'll make the D ring. So in order to avoid that, or make that not happen, I play a D, but now my whole hand is on all 3 of the other strings. Okay, so play the open G and let your use as much meat as, like, from here to here as possible, and go like that. Try that. Good. Very good. That looks really good. All right, you're going to start taking my gigs pretty soon. Okay. All right, so now we want to learn how to play something in time, even if it's one note. And so as a bass player, we are responsible for the time in the band. It doesn't matter whether it's a jazz band, if it's a rock band, if it's a punk band, if it's a new age, it doesn't matter. If the tempo is like that, then we have to play that tempo. And if we're playing all open G strings, all a G note, we're going note, 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 note. Right, so I'm going to count you in, and I'd like for you to do that. And keep playing until I tell you to stop, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. Excellent. You just played it out on the bass,
All
and you
right.
played it in time. Way to go, man.
Thank
That's
you.
very good. Now, one of the strongest bass lines in music is root, fifth, root, fifth. Now, we're not having a theory lesson here, but the root and then the fifth note of the scale. And in the key of G, the root is G, and the fifth is D.
Okay.
When you're playing the bass, what do we have? 2 open strings that are G and D. So we don't have to make any note yet with the right hand or left hand.
Okay.
So now we're going to add a string to what you just did. We're going to do the same thing. You hold the bass, and then you bring your arm over, and then you go. Don't worry about them ringing together right now.
Okay.
I'll show you how to remedy that. So they're shorter notes. So you just do the same thing. Leave your hand here, but then play the G, and then play the D, and then see how the motion of the hand goes. I sort of lift it a little bit to get back to the G. G, D, G, D, G, D. Okay?
Sure.
Let's try that. Okay, here, let me give it tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, D, G, D. Keep going. Very good. Look at that. You're playing roots and fifths already. You're almost playing a tune. Very good. Okay, so now you could, when you're practicing at home, what you can do is focus on, you could pull out like that, pull the string away from the fingerboard like you just were, but it's still better if you play into that string, into the D, and then pull the D. So G, D, G, D, G. See how my finger's already on the D?
Yeah.
That way you don't have to retake to get to the D, like, right? Plus, then you get that rocking chair motion and that cool groove. Like that. Try that. Excellent. Excellent. Did you see how when you did let the first finger fall into the D string, how it might have been a little easier to get to the G? Did you notice that at all?
A bit.
A little bit. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do that beginning bass players, I like to teach you guys to do, is now what do we do with this hand? Well, when we're playing open strings, one thing is you could go. All you got to do with the right hand is let it rest on the G when it's after 1, D, G, D, G, D, G, D. But you see what I'm doing there? This is acting as the mute.
Okay.
I'm muting the strings with this hand. Try that. Perfect. Very good. So historically, back in the 30s, when jazz bass was becoming jazz bass from classical bass, notes were a lot shorter. And then as the bass evolved into the late 30s into the 40s, the notes became longer and you just had more control over the notes. And then that has everything to do with the right hand. Next week, we'll start with the right hand, or we'll introduce the right hand and how to play notes. But you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hold on to that for me. That's our lesson for today. Thanks a lot.